Hello, everybody. Adjusting, etc.
The shores of hell.
Hi, folks. Can you hear Liz and I and see a web browser open to the Doom wiki and so forth? And I guess I'll
Oh, I should retweet you when you tweet.
Yes, always. No, I don't know.
Every time.
And can you all hear the music? Just trying to make sure that our setup is good from last time. Yep, okay, good. Same as before. So yeah, welcome everybody. We are going to be playing, well, yeah, if y'all haven't watched either of us stream before, I am JP.
I'm Liz, also Ella Guro on Twitter and other places.
Yeah, and Liz has recently been doing a video series called the Doom Mixtape.
Yeah, I'm just playing through maps that I like from different WADs, and it's not like there's not any sort of overarching like philosophy to them necessarily, just stuff that I think is like themed interestingly or whatever. Oh yeah, that first video has some rendering problems. But yeah, I've been playing through some stuff, and I just talk about them, and I have plans to do several more, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, if you're interested, you should definitely check them out. I'll link them on, I've been linking them on my Twitter and stuff, and my YouTube channel is just Ellaguro, Ellaguro. If you just search for that,
cool,
you can find it.
Someone in the chat says Liz is Liz quiet, so I don't know.
Okay. I'll move it.
Just
closer.
try to moderate. I don't know. Yeah, like
I don't want to clip because I was clipping before.
Yeah, I guess it's just use the theremin feel for being exactly the right distance. Sorry, our AV setup here is a little. We're still getting the kinks worked out.
I wonder if I can turn the monitor like a little bit down. Is that possible? So I can see a little bit better. Or is it like fixed? Like, can you move it, tilt it like at all, or is it?
Oh, you mean the TV there?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I don't know. Like, I mean, it's the middle of the day, and there's a decent amount of glare off of it. No, it's the TV doesn't really tilt or anything.
Okay. Well, let me just try and put all these all the way down.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. All right, we're just making some adjustments here.
Can I put this down too?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, that is probably leading to a lot of the.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. No worries.
I don't want to like drastically.
Oh no, it's totally
like
fine.
We're entering a bunker here.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right, this is definitely better.
Okay, cool.
All right. Oops. Okay.
And I can also change the gamma in game a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't think that actually shows up in the
I mean, the game is pretty dark too. Yeah. But yeah, no, this should be better. We've entered
all right, cool.
The bunker.
So we are playing through episode 2 of the first Doom, The Shores of Hell.
Why did you want to play through episode 2, JP?
Partly because it is sort of my favorite. Like it occupies a weird position. Doom, episode 1 of Doom, which was Romero's episode.
Yeah,
definitely like occupies this vaunted position because it is very thematically cohesive.
Yeah.
And like it's all Romero's thing, and there's a lot of there's kind of like some similar ideas getting developed over the course of it, and it's really just Romero just exercising his design style.
Yeah.
And he's talked a lot about that stuff in the past, and
you did the video series with him. Which
yes. Yeah. Back when I was still at Double Fine, I did a.
Remember when I was hanging out with you, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I saw that there was this Doom series, but the guy whoever did that just says like yup and like yep like all the time, and like I don't know how good this is." And you're like, "That was me."
And I was like, "Yeah, that was me."
And I was like, "Oops." No, I guess I'll go watch it again.
Like I definitely did. I'm a little sad that like because anytime one person is driving something mainly and another person is just occasionally chiming in,
Yeah.
I've noticed I've paid like it made me super self-conscious about what I'm doing, about when I do that, even just when I'm like talking to somebody in real life,
Yeah.
you know, and just kind of like following along. So in the future, if you're shooting a video like that where one person is doing most of the talking, you may want to edit the audio of the other person to just take out all of the ums and uhs and yeahs.
Well,
And
so I will say that I watched it again, and even though, like, you know, that was the first, I only saw that, you know, I only mentioned that because like a bunch of people in the comments and section in Polygon or whatever were saying that, and then I looked on the actual YouTube comments, and everyone was really like nice and saying that it was cool and stuff. So, and like I watched back again, and I feel like it gets a little bit better, and also like you're talking about really interesting stuff, and I'm really glad that like he talked to you in particular instead of, you know, somebody else who is not nearly as like knowledgeable or has like the experience working with Doom and first person shooter stuff and like working in the industry and all that stuff.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I was really grateful to get to do that, and really grateful to Two Player Productions and Double Fine for giving me the opportunity to do that.
It is also funny
really
because I did the Doom episode 1 commentary, and then I'm like, well, this has essentially been made irrelevant.
Well, sort of. I mean, I don't know. Anytime anybody's offering commentary, you know, like at some point we might be able to get like Tom Hall and Sandy Peterson in a room.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, no, totally. Like people have told me like, oh yeah, I really want to see Doom Episode 2 and Doom 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
With a similar kind of commentary from the creators of those maps, which would be really awesome. It's just like getting those people into the room.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, Tom Hall lives in San Francisco, as far as I know.
Yeah, is he? Like, I kind of lost track of, like, I follow him on Twitter,
but working, like, last I heard he was working for some mobile company. Like, I saw him at GDC. Like, I got to meet him last year, but that's the only interaction I've ever had with Tom Hall. And that was, like, a really big deal for me, because Tom Hall was, like, my favorite game designer growing up.
Oh, totally, yeah. Yeah, so for y'all watching who aren't as steeped in Doom history, Tom Hall was the creative director on Doom originally.
Yeah. And
a longtime veteran of id. He was one of the founders of id. You know, he worked at Softdisk with John Carmack and John Romero, and was Commander Keen was like his thing entirely. Like, you know, obviously other contributors from id, you know, made that game great. But Commander Keen was basically Tom Hall's character as a kid. Like, as a kid, he had a Green Bay Packers football helmet and would pretend to be a spaceman.
And red Converse sneakers.
Yeah. And then Wolfenstein 3D, he was, you know, he made very significant level design contributions and wrote a bunch of stuff and all that. He voiced the bosses for Wolfenstein 3D.
He made about 3/4 of the levels in Wolfenstein 3D.
Yeah, so, and he's just an awesome dude. You know, he went on to make Anachronox at Ion Storm Dallas with some good friends of mine from college, and he's just a cool, creative dude. And I don't know, I have always admired and respected his his sense of humor and creative approach.
Yeah, I will say from my limited experience interacting with both Tom Hall and John Romero, they're both very nice and down to earth, which is
totally
actually pretty rare.
Yeah, totally. Right. Yeah. So yeah, Tom Hall, but and so Tom Hall, like, id started making Doom after the big success of Wolfenstein 3D, and Tom Hall was creative director of that game. He wrote something called the Doom Bible, which describes a let me see if I can pull that up. It was a big design document, basically. Oh, okay, well, don't go to Doom Wikia. Doom Wiki is the one true. Wiki is basically a frozen Doom.wikia.com is basically a frozen mirror of the Doom Bible. That the Wikia people will not relinquish. I don't know. There was some sort of drama there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Tom Hall did I'm going to write a huge design document thing for Doom. And it's really interesting. It's definitely an alternate timeline for the game, and also for id Software and the game industry in general. Probably, I've always maintained, because it had a lot more storytelling stuff in it. Like, it talks about like, you know, just a fictional setup, how you're like a Marine playing cards with your Space Marine buddies, and then your buddies get killed, and there's just like these kind of story-based puzzles, you know, where you have to like find the hand of a commander to hold up to a hand scanner, and like locations have names a lot more. It was basically Tom Hall, I think, just doing the I'm going to come up with a story for this game. And so it's really interesting. Brendan Chung years later made a map called Barista, which ended up being the start of a whole let's see.
I never heard of this one. I know he made a like a series of Quake maps too, right? That were
yeah, he did. Like Barista ended up being a like whole map series that spanned several different game engines and games for Brendan Chung, who went on to make Gravity Bone and 30 Flights of Loving, and is now working on Quadrilateral Cowboy. But he started, like, I guess, yeah, this would have been 2004. He made a map called Barista that is kind of his attempt to kind of recreate some of that stuff from Doom. Yeah, and you can see here T-Tango, which was the name for the Phobos base originally in Tom Hall's design document. And then, yeah, inspired by the Doom Bible and Bungie's Marathon series, which, and a big thing there, like, Marathon is a big inspiration for Barista because it has text terminals.
Yeah.
Because Brendan Chung, you know, was like, hey, what can I do in Z-Doom? What can I do that's interesting? Hey, actually, I can use the modern Doom source port features to make text terminals.
I know a lot of people who today still talk about the Marathon games, and it's made me like want to check them out more substantially.
Yeah, like they are the story stuff. You can read all the story stuff on this one page. Yeah, marathon.bungie.org/story.
Wow.
And it's just this exhaustive, like, I think it's got the text
updated since 1995.
Yeah, man. Yes, right. That's when it started. And I forget where. Anyway, it's got the complete text of the game and all that kind of stuff, so you can kind of read through it. I have tried to play the original Marathon games, or just the 3 Marathon games, multiple times, and I have bounced off of them.
They're pretty clunky. Right?
Just because the shooting, just the action, like the actual game stuff, the level design does do some interesting things, but just as a total package, as like a piece of game design with a story in it, I have had difficulty getting into Marathon.
Yeah.
But I think it's, you know, the stuff that it was doing with story was definitely pretty interesting and, you know, certainly more advanced than what Doom was doing.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, Tom Hall, like, you know, kind of had his own version of the game that he had in his head while Carmack was making the engine, and I think Romero was making the tools at the time.
Yeah.
And these things were ultimately kind of on a collision course, and at some point Tom Hall was let go. Like, he was, but before he was let go, like, I guess they basically like kicked him out of the company or something, like.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what happened. I mean, they talk more about it, and well, I guess there's some in like Masters of Doom.
Yeah, in Masters of Doom, they talk about the circumstances for it, and it sounded like Tom Hall was.
Also the Doom, what is it? Post-mortem thing that was at GDC. They talked a lot about that.
But yeah, so before, you know, he was kind of going on this one track. One of the things that he was doing was building levels that had a lot more realistic level design aspects, and you can see little bits of that still in the levels here and there, and in some of the Doom alpha levels, like if you can download nowadays, they've all been released, just alpha versions of Doom that have unfinished versions of the engine and levels that never shipped, and you can see some of Tom Hall's levels. One of them I think actually had like a shower room with like lockers and stuff, so it really was like trying to represent spaces a lot more. And so
I love
when we jump into the game here, you'll see just how abstract these spaces got, but there's still a few skeletal remains. I really wish that somebody had gone through and like, well, it's difficult to say actually, because, you know, the versions of the levels that got released in the Doom in the Doom alphas, you know, were just snapshots. So they don't really tell you what the entire work in progress process was like. You can just kind of see what those were and then what shipped.
I love that the very first level in the Doom alpha is like in a random area in Spawning Vats episode.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and seeing that like in the Doom alpha is honestly kind of creepy. I'm trying to think if I have.
That area has always like had like a bizarre resonance for me.
Oh yeah, totally, yeah.
And I guess that makes sense that it had some sort of story significance, because it just seems very like out of place, but very like that there was more going on there. And I think that's like my impression of episode 2 overall, is that feels like there's an implied story, but it's always just like pieces and parts of it, and it never completely like, I don't know, there's just like something there that isn't ever like, you know, it's only ever like hinted at, or you only ever see pieces of it.
Do I not have DOSBox installed? Shame on me. So
surprising.
anyway, yeah, like I was going to boot up those rooms, but maybe we can do that a little later. I kind of want to get onto the game here. So yeah, Tom Hall worked on earlier versions of these games, of these levels that we're about to play, on some of them. And
it's the first 4 maps and map 7, I think, that are the ones that Tom Hall worked on.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure some of them were very close to done, if not almost done. Like, I know that episode 2,
yeah, here we go.
Map 2 was basically done or almost done.
Yes, yeah.
And I'm not sure about some of the other ones. Like, my guesses are that like the first level, it was less done, and it was more sort of pieces and like maybe spawning vats and Demos lab. How do you actually say that?
Demos?
Yeah. Those might have been more done, but I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, who knows what was? Who did what? Like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, the other person that is the significant author and who honestly did a lot more of what ended up shipping in the game was Sandy Peterson, who was a veteran game designer even by the time he joined id. He was his roots were as a pen and paper designer, and he worked on Call of Cthulhu, I guess, the original release of Call of Cthulhu, which was like the Lovecraft mythos tabletop RPG, which I don't actually know that much about. I mean, I've played games that have been inspired by it, but yeah. But the one thing that, I was playing through episode 2 sort of recently, like just kind of thinking about what I would say on a stream like this, and I was like, yeah, there's a lot of, even when you just look at the footprint of some of these levels in the editor, there's definitely like in the way that they fit into a square footprint more frequently than Romero's levels from episode 1.
Yeah,
it reminds me a heck of a lot. This is not a game. This is not from a tabletop RPG that Peterson worked on. This is just a random D&D map generator. But if you've ever done a tabletop campaign, if you're a game master, then a lot of times you will just draw out a dungeon map on graph paper that the party is going through and stuff. And it reminds me a lot of that. I mean, this is a stylized kind of simplistic take on that stuff.
Well,
but the way that but just that entire approach to game design, which is very different, I think, from Romero's approach to level design, which was all about, I mean, it was about a lot of things. But yeah, like I always think about Sandy Peterson's tabletop background and how he was kind of channeling that in some interesting ways while he was designing the episode 2 levels.
I kind of figured that because a lot of Tom Hall maps also do that. Like, I kind of figured that had to do also with trying to make it like more realistic environments or something, trying to be more compact in that way.
Definitely.
And like also maybe the way that Wolfenstein levels were designed, which is like you have a
64 which are top down,
grid, and it's top down, and so you have to kind of use space fairly efficiently if you're making like a bigger map.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna jump in here.
All right, have we checked in the audio and stuff? Is still okay? No one's.
Yeah, can folks in the chat? I'm watching the text chat on my laptop here. Can folks hear the game audio here? Like I'm moving the menu, just cycling that menu skull around. Yes, we are using 2 mics. I have my headset mic at the computer where I'm.
Yeah, and I'm stuck in the left channel, unfortunately.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
All right. So. Yeah. Oh man, Tom Hall's name was removed from the Ultimate Doom credits.
Well, yeah.
I think he was credited as creative director in some version of the game's credits. Okay, so let's jump in here. Shores of Hell. And and I'm just gonna play this on Hurt Me Plenty. Like, if you want to see a sweet ultra-violence nightmare run, then you can look on YouTube, see the speed demos archive.
It's pretty dark on the thing. Can you possibly turn up the gamma?
I can totally turn up the
Oh,
gamma.
thank you. Could you turn it to like 1 maybe?
How's that?
Yeah, that's good. Because
Okay.
I want some like level of
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
light variation.
Yeah, this is
going
just
on.
a gamma boost, so you should be able to see. Yeah, you should Okay, so here we are in episode 2, mission 1. Now we're picking up here from the end of episode 1, which ends with you fighting the 2 Barons of Hell and stepping through a teleporter, which is the first teleporter in the game.
No, it's not actually. There's a
it's not.
teleporter in episode 1, map 5.
Oh, really? Okay.
In a secret, and it has like a pentagram around it. And
Oh, that's right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is interesting. Yeah, but like teleporters weren't used outside of that,
Yeah.
but then this level like uses teleporters like crazy.
Oh yeah, some folks in the chat are reporting the like tearing weirdness in the video. Yeah, that's another thing that I don't know how to fix it on the open broadcasters side. Like, I think it has something to do with like page flipping on. I don't know. Yeah, like I don't know how to fix it. I hope it's not too bad. Let me know in the text chat if it gets like really bad, like as in this can't even make out stuff on the stream.
Are there like
but yeah.
weird video glitches and stuff?
Yeah, there's some video glitches that have shown up on streams that I've done before,
Okay.
but I've never been able to figure out why.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah, like you step through the teleporter, and then you're like you get teleported at the end of episode 1 into this dark room where there's a bunch of enemies attacking you, and you kind of appear to die. It's actually like it's the closest thing that Doom has to a scripted sequence event. Because you get there and you're like getting beat up, and it was really just their way of ending the shareware
It's
episode.
like kill you, like you're dead. Buy more episodes.
Buy more episodes and find out if Doom makes it out of that scrape. Because it puts you in this seemingly unwinnable situation. I remember like back in the day playing through episode 1 multiple times. Before the registered version came out or before I got a hold of it, like just using God mode to see if I could survive that scenario.
Oh yeah, I did that as well.
And no, you don't. It damages you no matter. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, you start off and now you're in the Demos base and you've got a different skybox.
I always liked how upbeat the music to this level is.
Yeah, it's rocking.
It's called like Donna to the Rescue, I think.
Yeah,
that's the
Donna,
name of it.
who was id Software's office manager.
Oh, and here's the upside down cross that damages you if you walk into
Yes,
the...
right.
I was always so confused by that when I was like younger. Like,
Yeah, totally,
Why
right.
that would damage you.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I think the theme of this level, like, part of the like strong thematic consistency of episode 1 is that you're seeing kind of the same textures and decorations, styles, and all that kind of stuff being used. And then you get to this level and you see something that you haven't really seen in the game yet.
Yeah.
You see this like weird shape and you're like, okay, that's weird. And then yeah, when you stand in it, you take damage. It's a damage sector.
I think that's probably a thing that Sandy Peterson added. If I had to guess.
I've always wondered.
Oh,
and
by,
so, yeah.
by the way, this level did not, as far as I know, it does not appear in any of the Doom alphas. So it makes me think that it was done like at the very, like it was one of the last things that Tom Hall did. And it seems to be
possibly, yeah.
It seems to be more in the style of like, or like trying to attempt like a style sort of similar to episode 1 in some ways, but then it's also like
it definitely has a little more of that. Like let's just jump a little further in here. So we've got some troopers and stuff. I forget if this particular texture is used in episode 1 at all.
Oh, I'm not sure. Yeah,
it's the default texture in
I think it
in
might
Slade in the Slade editor. So I generally associate like any space that's decorated with this texture. I generally like have a low impression of because I just think like, oh well, this is just default. You're just hashing out your sectors before you go in and do a proper texturing pass, which is not fair at all in this case because it's the first time that you've seen it in the game, I think. But yeah.
Does that triangular platform hurt you too, where you pick up the
That's a good question.
the shotgun? I seem to remember that it did, but maybe I just...
Yeah, it totally does. Right. So yeah, and that's where you get the shotgun.
Like hell is coming through in
Yes.
some way to like intervene and hurt you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like what we're seeing here is, you know, that's a workhorse episode 1 texture. So we're seeing this space that still kind of feels like a Space Marine Phobos base type thing, but it's starting to have some weird stuff, you know. And I don't think that there was like red stuff, and you know, this is just another damaged liquid
I don't
surface.
think so. I think it was all toxic waste.
Yeah, so you know they're starting to throw some stuff in, which will.
Oh,
reach
and the double-sided switch there.
Yeah, like I'm just instinctively doing this, you know, just because I know all these secrets by heart, you know. But yeah, this is like a weird. You hit this switch, and then this thing comes up out of the ground, and you hit this switch, but there's another thing that opens up a secret passageway.
And that red
behind you
key,
here.
which is not necessary for the completion of the level.
Right. Yeah.
Which I feel like is not a thing that was done at any point in episode 1, having a key that is completely optional. But maybe that's not true.
Yeah, totally. And then like that floor that sinks down and just becomes part of the blood region, you know, that damages you. That's another kind of weird thing.
Oh,
and
and
then
this has that little like hallway to the left here where
Yes.
that you go in and go out of.
Yeah.
That I remember. Yeah. This is one of the first levels. My friend owned Doom. I guess like I don't know. It must have been out for a while because the version that I got was the Ultimate Doom version. But I remember him like going into that like teleport area and like the like pinkies. Oh no.
Oh no! I completely missed my chance to.
Yeah. Oh. Well, there's that like little teleporter hallway. And the pinky demons like following him through it.
Oh yeah, right.
And,
yeah,
like,
if you're backpedaling through it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember thinking that was really bizarre because I just never seen anything like the teleporters in this game. I was like really fascinated by them because you could just stand in them and you had no idea where you were gonna go. You know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I guess the teleporters are one of the reasons why I liked this episode so much. They were used a lot more.
Yeah, and they were used. I think they really got a sense for how to use them to put the player off kilter and, you know, change up expectations or anything like that. Yeah, I think there's a secret in here, and it's really just a single file, a like long narrow hallway with a bunch of health bonuses in it.
Yeah. By the way, I always thought it was really funny that red key door. I've seen people complain about that you have to like that there's a damaging sector in order to open it unless you run really fast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is the introduction.
Well, it's kind of a consistent theme here, you know, like
Yeah.
there's just sort of like it's pretty consistent between the cross that you have to go through and
I always thought of this area, by the way, as like a mini version of the previous rooms with the teleporters. Like
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it is kind of a weird echo of this thing, and that's actually the first Kakudemon in the game. I forget
Yeah.
if she's there on everything on all difficulty levels, but yeah. So it is kind of a weird and like that's critical path. You have to do it to open up a porter. So it's a weird intro for you know what has kind of ended up being the game's most iconic enemy. You know, she's just kind of like crammed back in the level there. And actually, I'm going to go back and get one more little goodie here now that I have.
This is the secret that I never knew about.
Yeah, it is weird because like you have to backtrack basically all the way to the beginning to the very beginning of the level. And then you go into this space and you're in here with Kakudemon. Just trying to get some infighting going on here, but not too successfully. And the reason that this secret is this gives you like plasma gun very first thing. Apparently the plasma gun is in every level except the boss level in this episode. I had kind of forgotten about that. And so that's another, like, it's possible, I guess, that this will be your first encounter with a Kakudemon.
When does it open up?
So this, I forget, I think this opens up from this switch that's down there.
Oh,
you know?
okay.
One thing that
I would never
like,
think to go back there.
No, yeah, like I discovered it only after like my nth playthrough of Doom back in the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like,
This
this is
pretty linear in general.
Yeah, it is linear, and then you have to backtrack a lot. So that's definitely a weird kind of thing. I think it sort of fits in like, you know, those more obscure backtrack or weird secrets in Wolf 3D. You know, like Tom Hall just had this elaborate language for using secrets and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, something that I was noticing playing through this just recently was the use of windows. So like these are some of the better executed windows. They're still a little weird because like in a modern Doom map, you really would just like cut this thing as low as you can so that the player can see out of it as much as possible, but not move over it. But there's a lot in the next level. There's going to be 1 or 2 windows that are up even higher, closer to the player's eye height, and it's really tough to see through them. So it's always been kind of weird to me. Like you do definitely get, you know, a view out into other spaces, but you don't really know what that's going to be about yet. So yeah,
it's hard to tell. A lot of things with episode 2 are just strange, and you don't know exactly if that's like an intended effect or not, like, or if it was just kind of like rushed and it's just the way that it ended up.
My assumption is so like another thing that I was reminded of when I read up on him a little bit was Sandy Peterson joined id very close to the time that Doom actually shipped. Like, he did not have a lot of time to crank out as many levels as he did. It was after, you know, because they hired him as Tom Hall's replacement.
I love this wall that goes down. And there's a Cacodemon
and
Ultraviolence.
Yeah, and Ultraviolence, dude, just Cacodemon. And that's a pretty good, I mean, it's a brutal
when that wall goes down, like, that was always a big thing for me, too, because it's like, in episode 1, there's some tricky design, but it never like necessarily like super blindsides you. It kind of ramps up gradually, whereas like there's just a lot of things in this episode in general that just kind of blindside you without you having any real like expectation that is going to happen.
Yeah, totally. Like, yeah, no. So there's definitely, it's sort of setting a precedent for, you know, some more of the head games to come. But I think that's also, like, you know, in addition to that, like, I was just looking at the level map here and kind of noting the very, like, it fits into a shoebox. You know, it ultimately has a pretty rectangular footprint. So I think that's definitely one aspect of, like, the Dungeon Master type design where you're putting everything out on graph paper. I think another product of it was, like, I think it was also just the fact that the editor that they were working in didn't have a 3D preview. And so they were just like, okay, well, you know, like, I think there's a lot of things in this episode that are kind of primitive architecturally or whatever that are just due to the fact that they were, well, there's probably better examples of what I'm talking about here, but it's like single height ceilings and some other stuff. There's probably some better examples of this further into levels, so I'm gonna hit the exit here. Because yeah, I think we saw everything except for that one secret, which, as you can see, is just a single file hallway. All right.
I always liked some of the drawings on the map, particularly the one for spawning bats. And I don't know if you ever noticed, but the Tower of Babel is higher and higher.
It's being like, built like that thing it's underneath the 1247 numbers here. But that piece of architecture builds up as you progress.
Wait, did they reuse this from episode 1? There are some, like, the
No, this is a different map.
Some of the images are reused, though, like the one
with the little chunks of buildings and
the
stuff.
one with the pods, like, that's episode 1,
oh,
5.
Yeah, quite possibly, yeah. So yeah, episode 2, mission 2.
This was voted as the best Doom map.
Yes.
On Doom World recently.
Yeah, which always surprised me. I have always had a special place in my heart for this map, but I mean, it really is, and I think it really is. It deserves that award. I think it's an excellent and sort of strange map. But yeah, I was surprised to learn that. This one I think also had some of the most of Tom Hall's building. I think he built like all of this crate maze and like a bunch of other stuff.
I'm pretty sure this level was almost complete, aside from maybe a few things. I remember he said that he didn't like how you could like there's one secret where you can lower down, and not that one, but there's another secret where you can lower down the boxes and go between two different areas, and he didn't like it because he thought it like disrupted the flow of this area.
Oh yeah, I know what he's talking about. Yeah. So that's one thing is that they give you some enemies early on to fight, and then that actually sound will travel all throughout this large area, and some other imps will show up later if you dawdle, which I don't know how often people are doing that, but yeah, this is kind of a weird thing. You hit this switch and a shotgun comes down on the crate. This is one of those weird windows that I was talking about earlier. Is like this window is kind of like it's low. The sill is low enough that you can see an area beyond it, but I just feel like that's something that most of the time you wouldn't.
The window's really thick too.
Yeah, and it's very thick, and you can kind of see that it's just got like a 64 unit
the textures
buffer all around
aren't
it.
really like aligned like on like the ceiling part of the window. I mean, I know that's because of the way that ceilings work, but that's funny to
Yeah,
me.
no, it's like it really was just kind of crammed in here, and yeah, so we can go.
This
in
area
here.
of the level's always been weird to me.
Yeah, it's super weird because it's basically a donut. There's another weird window, and they gave us a little step here to view into this. So this is another like odd view of
I like
an
that
odd
window a
area.
lot.
Yeah, I really like. This is one of my favorite areas in the level, and then there's this thing that we can't get to yet. So this all feels. I'm feeling the hand of Tom Hall here, just from playing all of his Wolfenstein level stuff. It's like, okay, this is kind of an optional out of the way area. This is an optional thing, and it's gated off by a key card that I have no idea when or where I'm going to get it.
I think one of the great like indicators of the design of this map is that there's that maze, but if you just immediately go forward from the start and turn left and pick up that Berserk pack, and you like look to the right there, you automatically see an area that is like different looking with a different texture, and that's actually where you need to go. And so it doesn't really force you to go through the maze. It's kind of an optional thing, and only if you're really feeling adventurous, which I really like about this map. So many maps, like I think like maybe he learned something from the fact that he made a lot of really amazing maps for Wolfenstein, especially in episode 6 of Wolfenstein. And like I feel like this is I don't know. There's something interesting about
totally,
this.
yeah. Like the thing that's always struck me about this map, like I was trying to think back when I was trying to think back to like what it felt like to play this map originally, and it felt really I mean, first of all, it was scary in a way that the game just absolutely is not to me nowadays. Because it was like dark and spooky, and it was like the most amazing technology you'd ever seen.
You have no idea how big the maze is.
Yeah, like this maze already feels like really vast. Like they've turned us around a couple times. There's this weird offshoot area that's relatively quiet, but we don't know, what that's going to do. And then we see this whole other area that looks different. Like this is actually the very first. I'll go into it a little bit more, and then and a bunch of imps jump on us. This is actually the first real glimpse of a hellish type texture theme that you get, and this whole theme of this being like, oh, this seems like a normal place where Space Marines hang out. This is like the Demos base or whatever, and then you see this, and you're like, okay, there's like green marble with skulls, and then there's like these like these like flayed skin things with satanic symbols on them. And some lions,
Yeah,
so,
I like how this goes out to another side of the maze here too.
Yeah, and then it drops you in here, which depending on the path that you had taken, you may or may not have seen before. And so like it really feels unmanageable. Like you get at the point that you're here, you're kind of at the nexus of like, well, if I go here, that's going to be a whole unique route. If I go here. And then if I go here, there's a whole other thing. And I think, in horror games, like System Shock 2 does this a lot, where because the levels have this kind of like sprawling connectivity map, and they're not afraid to be very nonlinear, it just when you're at a hub here, it feels kind of overwhelming. You're like, I've gone down some of these paths and seen that they go significantly in a direction, to the point that I feel turned around at a certain point, back.
I was just thinking about how the fact that like this got voted as the best Doom map ahead of like The Living End, which I think was the one that was behind
okay,
it.
yeah.
Like maybe says something about the way that like the kind of design literacy or standards maybe in the Doom community are changing a little bit versus because like The Living End is something that is very like kind of like on the surface very like epic, and there's a lot of different like parts, and you know it's kind of a coming together of a lot of different things, whereas this map is kind of more non-linear and
yeah, it's a weird non-linear mood piece for want of a better term, you know, like
yeah, and like yeah, I don't know, increasingly that's the thing that I value in maps as well, so it's interesting to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is another door that is locked by the yellow key. So we just kind of go down this path. The enemy counts that we're seeing, I mean, we've seen exclusively imps at this point, and kind of in numbers that are equivalent to like late in episode 1. So, you know, and I think fighting crowds of enemies, like smallish crowds of enemies here, is pretty good for, you know, just the power curve, where you're at in the power curve. You don't have the chain gun yet, and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, there's just all kinds of like claustrophobic sort of, you know, stuff. Like, oh yeah, okay, there's the first demon.
I love all the crate stairs.
Yeah, just lots of crate shapes, and you can climb up on them and get a cool view. And like, well, back in the day, you couldn't shoot down on these guys, but I mean, you sort of could, you know, if you knew what you were aiming at and all that. This is a box of bullets. I think this is like one of the spawn points in Deathmatch. I always really liked this because it felt like you know, an alternate entrance into the same space, like as if. Also, I think maybe in co-op there's another pair of the spawn points.
Wolfenstein 3D has,
which
like,
I really like.
At least a few levels that do that as well. Like, there's one level that I can think of that has about.
Oh, that has like a fake entrance.
Well, it has like 6 entrances to it because there's also like
I remember those. Yeah,
because there's like 6 exit elevators, and you can only exit one of them, so the next level has 6 entrances, and I always thought that was really interesting.
Totally.
There's a lot of like the way that I think like in Wolfenstein, yeah, this is the thing that Tom Hall didn't like.
Yes,
because it like broke the flow of the area.
Yeah, it does kind of let you. I mean, it's not that much of a shortcut, but it. Yeah, I can see how that. You know, it changes the flow.
But like he was really good at sort of playing within the limitations of that format and trying to kind of do implied story things that weren't necessarily like there for a design purpose in the way that like, you know, you could really quantify, but were kind of implying some sort of like story or narrative feeling. That was one of the reasons why I always like really his like maps a lot of times like really resonated with me. Yeah,
he was, you know, he was just kind of thinking about things on a different level, you know, and he was thinking about the fiction. I think that was part of what probably drove him to do the more realistic stuff, because, you know, you can tell if it's like if it's a place that feels like a real place, well then a lot of useful storytelling stuff tumbles out of that.
You're about to go through the cool door.
Yep. Yeah, there's a pretty cool door here. It's like, oh, I can't open this door. Oh, and then I hit the skull switch, and that opens. Like, oh, how do I get up here? And then you walk forward, and there's a stair builder.
This is
which is weird.
This is like probably my favorite area of the level.
Yeah,
right here.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, this is one of the more splashy uses of lighting. You know.
It feels very much like Doom to me. Like there's all this. They use the crazy like circuit board textures, like lots of different kind of visual, like confetti. I don't know.
Oh, totally. Yeah. This is it's greeble. It's a ton of greeble. This texture specifically was made from. They were. I'm sure a lot of this was just the artists doodling, but like some of these things were from scans of microchips off of computer equipment that they had in the office. Like that thing is pretty clearly like a RAM chip or something. And then I think this was more just I forget, was it Adrian Carmack or Kevin Cloud? You know, they were the two main artists on the game. So here's There's another plasma gun for us. You can hit this switch to lower it. It was always just kind of a weird. So yeah, this, you know, this is. We passed through a space that felt like a weird hell corruption fusion sort of thing.
Area to the
and now we're back in this sort of techie space, but it feels a little more weird and different. It's got this red ceiling. And
that area to the left that you just walked by, the not that area,
this?
the one.
Oh, sorry.
No, the one with the
yeah, I know what you mean.
The weird lights and stuff. I always thought that was interesting because this area comes back and
in the spawning vats.
Yeah, and it made me feel like there's some sort of story significance. It's one of those things that's like it feels like there's a lot of significance to it, but you don't actually. Does it hurt you here? It hurts you in spawning vats.
I'm pretty sure it does.
Oh,
yeah. So yeah, no, it absolutely does. Like I do kind of wonder, like just this texture, like it seems like it could be a if this were like a Star Trek-y type sci-fi game, this might be like the teleporter pad, but it's not, and this thing is kind of only used in this context in the game, and it's weird, and like, you know, the lights are flashing, so it does kind of read clearly as it's ouchy, but it's like, yeah, what was this for? Like the fact that I've always thought of these just as these specific, like, not as spawning vats, but as they serve some purpose related to the spawning vats.
Yeah.
Where like they're popping imps out of these like cryo or like grow chambers or something, and then they like dry them off, or, you know, finish, like, you know, put the sealant on them or whatever. Like, I don't know. I haven't articulated this since I played Doom, you know, 20-something years ago now.
Yeah, I never could figure it out. I like that there's this.
But yeah, it's just this weird thing. And then it's like, oh, cool, okay, a backpack. And then
like 3 different doors.
Right, and then there's a whole secrets chain that you're about to see here. So yeah, we've got like a sort of sparky lights room here. And then there's another secret in here with monsters in it. And that's weird. And then there's one more secret in here, also with monsters in it. So this has always felt to me like you're just in the guts of a machine. Like this was like a computing, like we're inside of a weird computer. And then like
the end of episode 1, map 6.
Oh yeah, and then we can see it on the map. And you know, you can see its purpose in the map connectivity is really just kind of
where it drops you off here.
Yeah, like they were clearly just.
And then there's a little window on the other side to that area, or not.
Oh, you mean like over here?
Right, yeah, right there.
Yep. Yeah, I do like that. And so, like, on the one hand, this seemed like it might have just been like, okay, well, the player is going down this whole little, you know, they're going through these like blinking teleporty things, and then you know, and then you reach the end of this little secret thing. So in one way, this was just an efficient way of getting them back to the action and getting them back out to a common area here, so that they could continue exploring the level. But the fact that they chose to make it like curved and give it that techie texture, you know, ends up just being its own weird little like offshoot aesthetic statement.
There's so many different kind of like moods and themes like going on in this level and in this like episode.
Yeah,
like simultaneously in the same levels.
Like compared to even just, you know, like playing, there are kind of more ideas, like different aesthetic, like napkin sketches.
This is like one of the few like actual bona fide puzzles.
Yeah, right.
The game.
Yeah, you're looking at the floor, and normally, like, you can't get up there at first, but if you step on the floor, then it starts these things rising, and then it creates a path for you.
You know, this makes me think of the Golden Gun and GoldenEye. Like, I remember that you had to like walk a certain path to get it. It was very similar to that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
It's in like the Egypt level, which is.
Oh, okay. I'm not nearly as familiar with GoldenEye. Like I think I played all the way through it once.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is where it drops this one.
Yeah, and then it drops you off right here, which is cool. And then you get like another window into this. So like, a lot of times when you see a window in these early Doom maps, it was kind of cut opportunistically because you're like, well, I've got these two spaces that join up, and there's a door, But hey, what if like it would be cool if the player could like get a little peek into there, and so they just cut it, even though like, you know, the floor for this is sort of, you know, like this is a weird window. It's very close to the ceiling, and it doesn't really get you much information, but it does tell you that there's something beyond there. And I think that's just kind of a theme, that's kind of my conclusion with windows like this, where it's just like, yeah, let's just cut a sector here and see if that is cooler than not having it there. So actually, yeah, now that I have the yellow key, I'm going to go back to these spaces.
Oh yeah, this one.
Yeah, and this is where this gives us the chain gun on this level, actually, which would be pretty useful.
Like, the one thing about this episode, I always thought it was really strange how the thing just disappears. I mean, it might
how the slime just disappears.
Yeah, it might look different in the original.
Yeah, back in the day, it made absolutely no sense to me. Like, going through now with my sort of ability to fictionalize game mechanics, it feels like you're kind of draining this pool.
Yeah,
like that weapon was being kept safe or protected, you know, in a nukage pool, and then you hit the switch, and then that like drains the pool.
Yeah,
it doesn't really explain, you know, I don't know. At the end of the day, it's just kind of a cool, weird thing. But yeah,
it's funny because I remember the area, but I didn't think it was from this level, and I feel like often that was the case, that I'd have like memories of particular areas, but they would seem very disconnected from each other. Like I'd be like, oh, is that part of this level or is that part of that level? You know?
Yeah, and it gets kind of jumbled up and all that. Yeah, so I you know, I'm cheating / just using level 4 knowledge here. Like you walk in here, and there's these power-ups like a backpack and stuff sitting on these pedestals. But if you're just a normal Doom player, and particularly if you don't have always run on, they're out of reach by the time you get here. And then you're like, oh crap, what do I do? Oh, well, maybe I hit these switches to get them to come down. And you hit all the switches, but then you find that those have actually just unleashed some more enemies.
Yeah, that's pretty clever.
Yeah, like it's cool.
It makes me think of there's an episode, the area in episode 2, map 4, that reminds me of this, like switches and multiple.
Yeah, like what I really like about it is that it's taking advantage of the player's uncertainty. You know, because the player, like, it's reasonable to assume that once you see those switches that they'll bring down the platforms.
Yeah.
But they don't. I think like going into one of these rooms is what brings down the platforms, and then you come back.
That's such a trope of Doom, is like that I feel like especially gets established in this episode and in some of Sandy Peterson's levels too, where you really expect one thing, and then the game will just do something that like might be viewed as like unfair or whatever. Like you'll just walk forward and you'll be teleported somewhere, and you have no idea like that you're going to be teleported. You know, because there's no teleporter or something like that. Or
right.
like, you know, like monsters will just spawn in at a very like weird particular time, and like I always thought of that as being a very Sandy Peterson kind of like, she just has all these like weird tricky things happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Like
there it's like a little bit
looking at the text chat.
Oh yeah.
Let me save my game and quit out here, because apparently the
video errors.
Yeah, like the tearing is getting bad. I thought I changed this. Let's see. Allow flipping. I mean, I can turn this on, I guess. Maybe just quitting the application. Yeah, sorry about that, folks. I didn't look at the chat for a bit. Let's jump back in. All right, just let us know in the text chat if this is any better. Otherwise, I honestly don't know what to do.
I don't have a computer right now, so I'd be checking at it, but didn't bring mine with me.
So yeah, those are the optional sections of the level, and they net us a chain gun and a rocket launcher, so they are well worth it. I think like back in the day when I was playing this map, I didn't get those just because I was like too scared of the rest of this level to like feel safe like exploring much.
Well, this level throws so much at you at once.
Yeah, and there's just all these like it just rambles for miles and miles. You know, like we've got a lot of it in view here now, but yeah, like it's it's kind of two rectangles. Like some Doom maps are only like half the size of this. Yeah, this room always like sometimes when I think of that room in the spawning vats that was taken from one of the alpha levels.
Yeah.
I think it's in this level and it's here, but it's not. I think it's mainly just that it's a high ceilinged room and it kind of exists between a room that's like this.
Weird because it's strangely empty. Also,
Yeah,
that carpet
yeah.
texture looks often really ugly on newer source ports, but it doesn't look so bad on like the original.
Oh yeah, yes, definitely.
I like
yeah,
that
it
you
is
can-
weirdly empty. I mean, I think like its main purpose is just to hold this armor, which kind of gives you a breather. Like several times, you'd be happy to have found this, to have found that.
I like
And
how
then,
the-
yeah, that's right. And there's even
Yeah, I like how the exit is in view before you can really get to it, and it's the same way on episode 2 map 7, which is why I
Yes.
feel like those levels seem like like cousins with each other.
they
in
totally
a lot
are.
of ways.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and you've got to do kind of a thing to be able to get it, and it's like, oh, we can even see the switch there. So yeah. There's usually not much point to doing this, right? Like.
Yeah, it just sends you back.
Yeah, you just get the rad suit and then it sends you back.
I like that there's this secret.
So yeah, these are these the
ceilings.
first crushers?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
As far as I know.
Yeah, so that's the first. It's just crushing thing, and it's got like flames on the side. So again, it's kind of trying to evoke this sense of like this is a Space Marine base, but it's turned into like weird crusher trap land.
Crushers are a thing I see not very often on
Yeah, no, I
fan
think
Doom mods.
I think people in the Doom community have decided that they hate them, and so this is the
I
Lost
like
Soul intro,
Crushers.
isn't it?
Personally, I like Crushers.
Yeah, I think these are. I think on Ultraviolence you might see these a little earlier in the level.
Oh, that's interesting. And a secret too.
Yeah, yeah. So you just like it's just a weird, and then like the lights come on all the way.
I would be terrified by that. Like the Lost Souls, I never liked them. They always kind of freak me out.
Yeah, they're kind of they're like head crabs. They
Don't
they
kill
jump,
him! Don't
they jump
kill
in
him!
your head.
Oh.
No,
Wait for him to be
got him.
crushed. I want you should crush one of the monsters.
All right, yeah, you can do that.
That was my favorite thing to
Come
do
on,
when
buddy.
I was like,
Oh, totally, yeah, because it was basically like free.
yes.
And when the crusher comes down on the monster corpse, it just turns them into the little pile.
Yeah,
The
which
little wolf 3D blood pile, basically.
Which, like Archfiles and Doom 2, if they resurrect them, will be zombies, right? They'll never.
Yeah, doesn't that make like an immortal monster or something?
Yeah, there's a
like,
secret here that you're gonna miss. Go back. Go back. There's a little corner of light.
Oh, that's
there.
right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you step into that lit corner there, and then it brings the soul sphere down on a little pedestal. So this is that weird, close to the ceiling, narrow window that I was talking about earlier. You can kind of see why they weren't able to make the window sill any lower and thus the window any bigger. But yeah.
I always found this area interesting because I would play. This is like a completely independent. Oh, I like that you just go through the blue key door out to another blue key door, which just has the red key right there.
Yeah. Like in one way, it's very efficient routing, but in the other, it's just like, this level rambles on for miles and miles, interestingly, and then when it comes to just like, okay, you've got the blue key. Now you can have the the red key.
I
It's
don't
like, oh,
necessarily
okay.
mind that though, but it is weird.
No, it's fine. I mean, like it's all kind of on the critical path, and like where you dole out your little progress tokens isn't very important. But
but like I always played this with cheats on when I was a kid, and I put IDKFA on, so like I would enter that room from the other side, and I'd always be very confused about the layout and how you were actually
Right.
supposed to like, what order you were supposed to do things in.
Oh,
I don't know,
totally,
that
yeah.
sort of added to the kind of like lore or strangeness of this map for me.
it says I'm missing one secret. I think I might know what it is.
Oh, I'm trying to think of.
I'll bet it's the weird. I don't think I actually collected these. Yep,
Yeah.
there I was waiting until I had the backpack, and now I do.
Very good ammo conservation.
Yeah, I'm used I'm used to having strong ammo conservation skills from all the ultra hard community maps. So yeah, that's E2M2, and it is a weird, interesting beast.
Doom map, according to Doom
according
World
to the community,
in
and
circa 2015.
I'm looking at the chat here. When are those guys that can bring up dead folk introduced? That is in Doom 2.
The
Archviles are
in
Doom 2
are
only
Doom 2,
enemies.
yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if I really have much more to say about this. It's just like this is really like E2M1 like has a few weird things that deal
This
damage
just,
to you
like,
and stuff.
it
Whereas
throws-
this really kind of plunges you headlong into it.
It throws so much at you at once, and it's kind of disappointing in the future when like maps further on in the episode don't really.
Yeah,
like,
don't get as weird and don't have quite the same like, you know, bewildering structure.
This map is like fairly reviled in the Doom community, and
Yeah,
I don't.
I was
exactly
wondering about
know
that
why.
because it's always been.
I
It has
don't
long
mind this
been
map.
my least favorite, but I don't know. I
My
played
least
it
favorite
recently.
is map 5, honestly, in episode 5.
Oh yeah. There are some things that I like about Map 5 that
I like
have
this
mostly
view
to
to
do
the
with
end.
nostalgia.
That view to the exit, I always thought was really good.
Yeah, this view to the exit is neat. It's sort of like awkward, like you've got this comparatively tiny little slit. I mean, I love that this green vine texture is in front of it. That's awesome. But just the fact that it's really narrow, I mean, it's fine.
You can see the exit though. That's the only important information that's being communicated.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Like
this completely weird optional room.
Yeah, I really don't like this space. This is one of those spaces that it feels like it was done very early on. Like it might have been, you know, an early, like a Tom Hall doodle, and then because like things that I don't like about it are the ceiling heights are mostly the same height, and it's lit up like a drugstore, and most of the time when you're looking at a boring space in the original set of Doom maps, it could be improved by better lighting, which I realize that the state of the art as far as sophistication, you know, grew with the community on that.
Yeah.
And also just like, but also just like, sorry, taking care of these guys.
So, I don't know. I will say that I like that it just throws you into this big confrontation, and like that the area is like kind of big for being an optional room.
Yeah, no, I do like that. I mean, it ends up being its own like it. You know, it is a coherent little combat setup, certainly. You know, like because it has the chain gun is the reward at the end. And there's just, you know, there's a few like nooks and crannies for enemies to pop out of. I mean, I think also like the texturing is like, you know, the fact that, okay, well, we've got this plain texture here that isn't aligned correctly, and then it's using this thing, which really is just sort of like random detail.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, this busted panel. Whereas nowadays you would probably use this texture predominantly, and then occasionally like break up your line defs and use these things as little accents.
I mean, honestly, the weird chaos was always part of the charm of Doom to me.
Yeah, totally. Like I think in this case, like it's just visually not as interesting as other places that have super weird texture choices and weird lighting choices and stuff. Some of which are in this map.
That door seems narrower than normal too.
Yeah, it's a little bit narrower. Yeah, I think there's this is a less used, because I think that is just a vanilla door texture, just one-to-one on that thing. Yeah, putting these cacodemons in like this sewage tank kind of thing.
I like.
I always like this.
Yeah, I like that they're there from around the corner. I don't know.
Yeah, because they're harassing you right from the start, and then like when you pass back through, they're gonna give you a hard time. And
I like this vine theme too. Honestly, I don't know why this map is hated as much as it is.
I mean, this is like the vine stuff is some of my favorite textures in the game. Like I you know, and anybody who's played my Arcadia demake, like I work this thing for all it's worth.
Yeah.
Is this also the first point? No, it's not the first point where you see the sky. You see the sky briefly behind you in mission 1, don't you? Like when you first come in, if you look behind you, you can see the skybox.
Yeah, it is kind of a random place to have the sky, though. It doesn't really...
Yeah. I mean, I like it. Like, one of the things that I realized looking at Doom maps is, like, it's... The decision to have it open to the sky or not is such a huge factor in the atmosphere of a space.
Yeah.
Just because the level geometry is so simple that, like, it makes a huge difference. And, like, I was really noticing
the first
the level design's use of that.
It's the first skull keys, I think.
Oh, yeah, quite possibly, yeah. Yeah, because this level, like, I mean, this kind of feels like...
you're about to go up on my favorite room. I love this room much.
Yeah, it's got the goofy, like, moving floors and stuff.
This room is the best.
This is the kind of thing that, you know, if they had somehow been making this game with much higher polygon counts and stuff, that it would have been, like, some possibly overdone, like, bio, you know, like, weird hell tentacle stuff. But as it is, it's just like, okay, there's like red ceiling panels and like kind of the coal mine rock texture. And then you're just like, it gets really weird here, you know? So it's just like hell has just completely overtaken this part of it. And I love it.
It's funny to me that that Sandy Peterson was Mormon, and like the idea of someone who's like a religious person designing hell actually makes the most sense to me.
Yeah. There's that quote from him where, you know, Romero, like, I think Masters of Doom described it, where, you know, they wanted to like feel him out to make sure that he was okay being super religious and making a game full of demons. And he's like, sure, they're the bad guys. And it's, I don't know, it's just kind of an adorable, like, you know, pragmatic. Like, okay, cool.
I like this area too, even though it harms you. I don't know. I just like.
Yeah, no, I like this too. This, I think in Ultraviolence, there's a Baron of Hell here, so which made this fight
comes in. It comes in a different room, right? It's in a different room.
Yeah, it could be actually. I just like I remember being a kid and fighting and like having a really tough fight with the Baron in this thing. Like he was kind of coming down this corridor at me. Actually, yeah, is he like...
He's down. He's over there.
I think he is. Yeah, he's in here, right?
Or he's down the hall. Maybe it's only on Ultraviolence.
Yeah.
I thought he was like in this hallway here somewhere.
This room is one of the best gimmies in the game, where it's like room full of enemies interspersed with barrels, and you just shoot one of those barrels, and it basically just always does them in.
Yeah, I mean, like, so there's a lot of misaligned textures, especially in this level, and like weird stuff. But I don't know. I actually think there's a lot of like interesting spaces and stuff in this level.
Yeah. Like it's grown on me. Like I think back in the day,
this makes me think of the first level of Inferno.
Yes, totally. Yeah. Like this.
Yeah.
You know, this kind of like, you know, forced run across the blood, and you know, it's possible, like, you know, there's nothing. It's entirely likely that some of these hell touches were added after Sandy had made more of the episode 3 maps, because he basically did all of the maps in episode 3, right?
He did.
I guess
so. Tom did Pandemonium and
Limbo.
Limbo
E3M7
/ Gate to Limbo, which are like honestly probably my 2 favorite maps of that episode.
Yeah.
Well, I like Mount Erebus too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's one of my faves. So yeah, we've done a full circle here, and yeah, it's super weird. Like one thing I always like, I've wondered now, like trying to sort of graft a fiction onto this, is like all of these vines, were these here before the Hell invasion? Did they just have like a beautiful garden base? Or are the vines part of hell? Because the idea of vegetation being part of like an infernal presence, like I don't think that that's what they were going for in the game necessarily.
No.
But I think it's interesting, you know.
The connections between these rooms, I will say, are kind of weird. Like the fact that
they're super weird.
Door, and I can see why people don't like that. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, the connectivity in here, like you kind of constantly feel like you're taking a secret or going a secret route or going the wrong way.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah, this is a classic. This was just, you know, like at the time, this was like as atmospheric as the most atmospheric alien pipe hallway you could imagine.
Yeah.
You know, just because the flickering lights and the dramatic stuff. And
the one in episode 3, map 3 is cool, but that one's still
yes.
Oh, and the scrolling normal textures.
Yes, right. Yeah, so this is like an outdoor area where it's scrolling, and I think it like this is really just kind of like this is hell stuff. Are you freaking out yet? Kind of just weirdness, you know. I don't know what this would have been like if, you know, if they had been. There might have been something of an illusion happening there if it had been a round skylight kind of thing, but I can't make head or tails of it. It's just, you know.
This is the area that I always confuse with the end of episode 1, map 5 too.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Except it has Lost Souls in it. This one does. I remember being really like freaked out by this, even when I play it on with invincibility on, and I like tried to run to get out of this maze as quickly as possible, and then would kind of like shoot behind.
Yeah,
I was really scared of it.
It is really stressful. Yeah, like this is just a classic. Like, I mean, this is a horror game setup right here. You know,
Yeah.
There's like a whole bunch of potential lines of sight. You can't see hardly anything, and if you can hear an enemy specifically, you know, and the lights are off and they're blinking. I mean, yeah, this is just like straight up just downshifting the pace of the game into, you know, horror territory basically.
And these hallways are the same as the one that you saw earlier, that have those little panels in them. It's weird that they make you run through the lava so much, or not the lava, the nukage so much.
Yeah, like this level does that a whole lot. You know, they're just
Maybe that's
really working it.
Yeah, maybe that's another reason why people don't like the map. But I like this technique. I don't know, like
Yeah.
this map isn't like completely like fully realized certainly, but there's a lot of like really interesting like character to it that
There's cool ideas in it. Yeah.
that I see as like why I liked episode 2, whereas like I think like map 5 in particular just feels like big and without a lot of character in comparison.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that. Does anybody know what secrets I'm missing here? Like, I'm missing 2 secrets.
Oh God,
And
I'm trying to remember. I did those like
there's not an auto map in this, is there?
I did those Doom 2 videos, and I did the first part or like the first half or so of episode 2. So I got all the secrets in this map, but I don't remember them what they are in this map.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're here. Maybe not. Yeah, well, I'm not gonna...
Every time I think about the in episode 4, there's a map with like mislabeled secret sectors, so it has like 50 secrets in them, and you literally just like walk forward, and every step that you take, you get another secret. I think it's map 3.
Which you only really know about if you're playing in a source port that like plays the little sound when you find a secret.
It's totally like, it's totally fucked up. I don't know if that was... Yeah, that map was designed by...
Oh, this is tricky.
Oh, what?
Yeah, check it out. Yeah, wow. I might not have even have found this back in the day. You turn right around and... Oh, and that gives you... Oh, okay, nice. And
well,
that gives you
slightly more sense.
That gives you the rad suit that you can use to get that thing.
Although it's weird that that's in a secret.
Yeah, right. As opposed to just a standard feature. What am I missing here? Like, I'm just looking at this map. I don't know.
There's a secret on the far end of that room. Did you got that presumably?
Yeah, like the
Yeah,
sphere?
okay.
Yeah. Gee, wonder what it can be.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ah, well.
I don't remember enough about this map. There are so many parts of episode 2 that really blur together for me. Like, there's part of this map that reminds me of episode 3 map 1, and there's part that reminds me of the next map. And like, I don't know. So, I'm gonna say that this was my favorite Doom map when I was a kid, like, and for
Yeah,
a
me
long
too,
time,
actually.
my favorite Doom map, just in general.
Yeah. No, this one, when I played through it recently, I still have a very strong positive impression of it. Even though I think craft-wise, it's not extremely well executed. There's a lot that I like about it. I'm gonna check the text chat here.
Okay.
Um, cool. I was just checking for.
Are there any interesting comments?
There's definitely some interesting comments. I was just checking for questions or something.
By the way, Jay Mickle said hi earlier, so I'm just saying hi to Jay Mickle since I didn't say it earlier.
Yeah.
And anyone else who's in there, sorry, I can't see the chat right now. I might walk over there and look at the chat.
Oh yeah, somebody says E2M3 is in a very early Doom alpha. So I think some of the weirdness of that map probably is down to the fact that it was just made earlier in development. There was that whole arc of figuring out how to make better and better levels.
Yeah.
There's a lot of spots in this level actually that do kind of all have the same ceiling height.
Yeah, that's true.
And again, I don't know when in development this was made relative to other things, but I think it still manages to be pretty interesting.
I like how
despite
big
that.
this level seems. Like, you look to the left,
Yeah,
and that's
you look
the
down this hallway.
longest hall that you've ever seen in this.
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. And these ents, I think, were put there very, very intentionally to just have these fireballs coming all the way down this hallway at you.
You should get the secret first.
And then you come out, and then you come out into this area, and it starts to really feel very vast. Kind of in that sense that episode 2, E2M2, felt like it was just sort of sprawling out of control and meandering forever and ever. So yeah, this is a weird. This is probably one of the weirder secrets in the game.
Yeah, I've never understood this secret
Yeah.
until I looked it up.
I think I stumbled on it by accident back in the day, and I might have been playing on UV, so the enemies took me by surprise massively. But yeah, you basically walk back by this little skull pillar here.
I guess it is distinguished by the fact that there's a skull on it. This map
And
always
in exchange for it, I guess you get the computer map, which
is
is
actually pretty useful.
Yeah.
This map always sort of aided my perception in thinking that so at the end of Doom 1 you die, and there's that Doom mod that I really like called ALT that's is this psychological story or whatever, and a lot of it is about things that you imagine in your head and stuff like that, and episode 2 always felt kind of like that. There was just a lot of kind of playing with your mind stuff going on, and this map especially made it feel like it's so surreal, and things change so much and so quickly that it felt like it was really a more psychological horror. And maybe it's one of those things that maybe you died at the end of episode 1, and
right, yeah,
and this
when
is you actually going
2,
to hell.
I always kind of had that impression as well. I don't think I had articulated it that clearly, but
yeah, I think John Romero or somebody said that that's not the case, but whatever, you can interpret into these into these things whatever you want to, and that's how I choose to interpret it.
This hex texture is used much more extensively in episode 1. So it's kind of a callback in a way, but so I and this is another episode 1 tech paneling thing.
This is one of the most generic named maps for how crazy it is. Also,
Demos Lab.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. It's a lab, so I guess they were doing science here. I mean, we're getting the tech stuff here. I think this is absolutely.
Oh,
yeah, and you walk in here, and then this thing closes, and you're like, did I just miss something? As best I can remember, that's one of the few cases where you come in and see a door closing, and then you can't just open it right back up. So you're like, man, how do I get in there? Oh, this is weird. And you've got these.
I do like that they hint that very easily that is a crusher. You have a lot of indication that that's a crusher.
oh dear. And then there's all these enemies like hiding behind. Yeah.
And you
'Cause,
fall down, you can't get back up like right away.
Oh, I shouldn't have killed him. He was about to die. Yeah, and I remember when I was still a Doom noob, cacodemons were difficult enough for me to kill that I spent like a long time trying to lure this caco into that crusher, just so that I wouldn't have to face her dead on. Nowadays, you just
It's interesting that you gender the cacodemons as female.
it's a silly, weird thing.
I don't really have any like. Most of the monsters, I don't feel like.
No, they are pretty genderless. Yeah, and it probably is better to.
I do like
to think of them as such.
I do like it when people refer to the spider mastermind as she, even though I know that that's supposedly not the case.
Oh yeah, that's right. You know, I forget what. There's some sequence here where you can get so that this never opens, which is why this thing is actually a shoot door.
Yeah.
I think they made this thing a shoot door, just in case you got this little progression into the state where this thing didn't open, or it opened and reclosed or something. I forget.
Huh.
Anyway, there's like an invisibility thingy and a chain gun, and that's cool.
Did you go back to the other? Through to the left.
Over.
Yeah, there's an
doorway
area.
is not open yet.
Oh, okay.
Like there's a big doorway that opens up there. Like,
but then there's another one on the other side, right?
This is one of the most interesting things. Yeah. Well, this is one of the most interesting.
You
things
can
that
drop
this level
down
does
there,
to me is that how episode E2M2 was doing that thing where it was just showing you all kinds of different views into things, and it was sort of terrifying you with how many options you had. This is like, well, I could go there, but I don't want to run across this nukage. And then there's other paths that you can also only get to by running through nukage.
What is that?
Like
what is that fucking texture? Is that like a witch? What is that?
Yeah, I
never understood that texture, and it's only like used in this level. This is like the witch level or something.
Yeah, I've always parsed it as like like a Medusa, like a Gorgon. Oh crap, I'm angered. We're normally meant to aggro that caco when we're up there, but yeah. So like this route has always struck me as just weirdly pointless. Like I remember being stuck in this level one time. Like it must have been when I first played it, and I like just legitimately thought that I had to run through all of this crap here, and it's just I don't know. Yeah, and then I like got out of it, and I was like, well, what was that for? And I wasn't using always run and whatever.
I feel like Doom, like especially like Registered Doom episode 2 and episode 3 have so many of those "what was that for" moments. I loved this area because it turned all of a sudden the mood changes and it's like, okay, it's serious now.
Yes, right. Like this is that's right. This is a laboratory. It's this is tech shit. Oh, but no, there's still a demon
It becomes
face.
so like simple. Like the textures are so comparatively simple, and it looks different from anything else than it's
right.
It's like this is important. I don't know.
It does, yeah. Well, I mean, it does kind of presage what's about to come. That is the first Baron on Hurt Me Plenty difficulty, I guess, huh? In the episode.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's weird. I always thought that there were more Barons in this episode, but I guess I always played on Ultraviolence as a kid. Like,
this wall goes down and you can go across.
Yeah, you hit that. That's just kind of a weird, like, well, this is a barrier.
And then there's a weird, like, little maze.
Yeah, there's a crusher maze.
The crusher thing, too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
Crusher with tech ceiling, I guess.
This episode sure does use the crushers a lot. Not that I complaining, I like them.
Yeah, it works them.
Yeah, I like the...
And then, yeah, normally fighting the cacodemon here is pretty cool. And then we get the rad suit that we can use to explore this nukage area a lot more comfortably. Of course, I've already done that.
And then you opened up the other
And then, like,
side,
this is such a weird place to drop you off. Like, it's kind of easy to miss this if you're just like, I'm just trying to run through nukage, I hate it. Whereas if you get dropped off here, so this is potentially a very disorienting moment in the level.
Yeah, no, it is because
really
you're like, what's going on there?
And then you've got the rad suit, so you can kind of be like, oh look, there's some goodies for me here. And I
How-
forget
how
what
do you
opens up
open
that thing right there, but
That's weird.
and then is there a? Yeah, that's right. There's not a nook, a goodie nook here.
I don't know how you open that up. What's? Oh, that's weird.
So yeah.
Oh.
Oh, that's right. I'm invisible. I realized I had been using my.
I remember this is the first place that I'd always pick up the backpack, even though it's in previous levels. Like, this is the first level that I remember picking it up.
It was
because
a
on the
little more
main
out of the
path.
way
Yeah.
in those other levels. Yeah. Okay, and so yeah, we've got like a big tech room here. Tall ceilings, which always kind of increases the portent of it.
Yeah,
When you go into
this
here,
is when it gets crazy.
when you're like, okay, I am now looking at red. This is just like very hellish.
Isn't there a Baron that like is here?
They're
usually?
totally it. Like yeah, like what? Skill is 2. Yeah, I don't get it. I mean 0, 1, 2, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, maybe he's just not here on. Used to playing on Ultraviolence, and like the source ports do weird thing with crushing the Barons because he's too tall. Like they'll.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I love those the blue and red texture.
Yeah. This episode.
Is it called Flame Wall?
These textures get a lot more of a workout in episode 3.
Yeah.
So it's just sort of showing like, look, there's it's getting
It's like a
pretty
portal or
weird and
something.
hellish. So you're like, okay, well now what? What am I going to see now?
And then all of a sudden you're in this weird ass green area.
Yeah, you're in a very subdued area with the recognizable green marble. You see like, okay, there's more vines.
Don't take the secret shortcut, by the way. It ruins everything.
I really like the secret shortcut.
I
but
don't
yeah,
like
no,
the secret shortcut.
I understand.
This is the area that that part in Doom or episode or map 2 reminds me of with the multiple doors.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I like how there are 3 different kinds of doors. It's like really
Right.
weird.
It is super weird. Yeah.
This is
it's kind of symmetrically laid out. Yeah.
This is a map that feels a lot more like psychological than other maps. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, this is this is one of my favorite things that this level does is that like, you're like, "Oh, cool, there's a thing I can get to. I just have to go through this bit of nukage." And then you're like, "Oh, well, I can't get it because of these barrels, so I guess I just have to like sit back here and like I mean, this is cheesing it, I guess. I'm used to doing that, but like
well, you can see it from there, so
Yeah,
you can still
yeah.
do it.
but yeah, I always found that like there's clearly a design intent there,
Yeah.
That was the other thing that I was going to say about the Sandy Peterson like tabletop dungeon master kind of approach to level design is that like there's a lot more not just visual gimmicks in episode 2 but just like gameplay setups that feel like they're a dungeon master trying to create some weird little thing and I think oh yeah, I guess it was in the last level, but the whole technology to the specific scripting setup that gives you like teleport ambushes.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's one in E1M9 where there's like that thing sitting in the middle of the room in a pentagram, and then you grab it and monsters start teleporting in all around you.
Yeah.
I don't think they were super conversant in that trick on the original Doom level design team. It starts getting used really liberally in Doom 2, but and so just things like hiding those enemies behind that barrier, like in that tech room with the crusher.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was just their way of like, okay, well, we want something that feels like an ambush here, but we can't get too fancy with the scripting. So yeah. And then you go in here, and then this opens up.
Yeah, and that opens up the 2 other doors, and there are
And then there's cactus in here.
This room is kind of small too, so it's
Yeah, it's a tough. This is a tough fight. Like you really feel. So yeah, this was just kind of another way of getting.
This area is totally optional too, as far as I know.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. Yeah.
Which is very interesting to me because it's fairly detailed.
Okay, now
for,
these things have opened up.
Yeah, this is fairly detailed for an optional area.
Yeah.
Oh, and that sends you through to another passage.
Yes. Right. That sends you into here. And you're like, okay, I'm in a weird vines room, and it closes. Like anytime a door opens or closes on you, I just think of this dungeon master figure just hovering out of sight.
I love that though. That's what I loved about Doom and this hallway of lost souls with the skull thing. I don't know. There's just so many like specifically like themed little areas that feel very like video gamey in a way that I like. Just very abstract and symbolic, I guess.
Oh, and I guess this stays open. No, yeah, I don't say the dungeon master thing disparagingly at all.
Yeah.
Like I think it is, because it's really just design intent being communicated in, through the tools that they had.
Oh, this pit of lava
I
too.
forget what. Okay, yeah, that opens up. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Is this
That
closed?
texture.
I forget.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
After you
Some of those
open it up.
textures are unpegged,
Uh,
which means that they just kind of, like it looks like a curtain rising. Rather
there's
than
another place that you can go in there. I think you just went back through the loop, but
Oh, really?
I think so. Or maybe you went everywhere. Oh, it looks like you did go everywhere. That just leads to that other area.
But
that
yeah,
you're
like
in.
when a space has this many like weird crenellations like this, they you start second guessing yourself that you've seen.
Yeah,
everything,
I've seen this level a lot, and I always had a very particular order that I had to go through this level in. Like I didn't want to go. I had to go to this area before I could go to the area where you go down the lift and everything.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
I never liked to. And when I found out about that secret later, where you
This
can
little secret
shortcut,
shoot.
I like got so pissed off because I really like the flow. This is one of the things like Tom Hall talks about, like flow. I bet like you probably would be mad about, but just because I like going up the staircase here. I loved this area. Like,
Oh yeah, I liked it too. I think my main attachment to the little secret route that takes you into the middle of this area is just that I found it more tactically advantageous back in the day.
yeah.
Because I had a choke point that I could filter everybody through. Because you come in here and you hear all these
the
imps.
spine lifts. Yeah. God.
Yeah,
they
I'm
look-
really used to the Baron being here.
Yeah. Well, and they're all they're the barons and the bunches of imps in those little like lift areas. Right
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah, and like
And that just
I don't know
feels
what's
like,
going on here.
That
Like
just feels like total chaos.
yeah, like they're kind of trapped in here. I mean, I think it's just because they wanted like just you to be getting some fire from the sides here. Otherwise, the imps would just spill into this area and make it completely unmanageable. I mean, it would be manageable by modern Doom difficulty standards, but
Yeah, I like how like when you go down the lift, it looks like a normal lift, and then all of a sudden you're dumped off in this area, and then when you go up, there's this mine text, and you're like, did I come from there? Because
Yeah,
the area that
right.
you came from is not like weird hell themed necessarily.
that's a good point. Yeah, it really is very. Also, does it go all the way? Oh wow! I guess this really does take you down quite far. Interesting. And then yeah, in the middle of it,
I love that you just walk up
and you hit the stair builder, and it makes it feel like a very protected location.
yeah, I always loved going up this one staircase.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, and there is a Kako here.
And this is where you get teleported, but it's funny that just stepping in that light is what like makes things appear, because it's not really apparent that that's what it would do. I liked also that
Yeah.
It will drop off the enemies there, so like if you just ran past them and didn't kill them before, then they'll just like oh, there's a plasma weapon too. If you just like oh, nice.
This is such a weird thing too, like because you drop down here and like in the 320 by 200 days, a lot of times you couldn't even tell that there was a drop off here, so you would just kind of fall down, and then you'd be like, crap, now I'm stuck in this tiny area, and then you would find that secret just by hitting spacebar, and then find yourself in this thing and be like, oh, I guess I've been rewarded for it, and that teleports you here.
Yeah.
Which I've always
It's
really
totally disorienting if
it's
you haven't
very
been-
disorienting,
Yeah.
and if you haven't cleared out this area yet, then you've got kind of a weird fight because you're looking right at that Kako's butt, and then so you've got like a very close quarters fight with a Kako, and then everything else in this area is pissed off at you, and you're kind of like working your way down, and if there's other Kakos, then they're coming through this tight passageway here.
Yeah.
So it's
That's
super
true.
weird.
Yeah, that's true. It changes
Yeah.
the.
I don't know, like this is one of my favorite visual moments of episode 2. Weirdly enough, even though it's like a small room,
Mhm.
it's just because like it's this lamp. I mean, it's got the vines, and then it's just like a big wall of tech. I don't know. Just
Well, this is one of the few places where you activate something through a lamp, which is not really apparent. Like, it's not. It doesn't make itself apparent like that you're supposed to activate something from it. It's not a switch or anything.
yeah, right. Yeah,
And like I always thought that was interesting. And then when I go through here is when like this really seals the deal. You see the wall of faces.
Yep.
This is what makes me think of like it being like this psychological, like you're going mad kind of thing.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. This is it's a fave. I do love it. And then you're like, okay, there's the exit. Crap.
I like this area a lot
And
too.
there's some goodies, and how do I get there, and whatever.
You have to hit the switch because if you go straight in the teleporter, then you know it'll do nothing.
Yeah.
Which
And so then that puts you back here,
and
which
you have to
if
go
you haven't,
back through the same teleporter.
yeah, like because sometimes your instinct is to just haul ass through this area. You just hit the teleporter.
If it goes back through there, then you have to deal with the fact that there are monsters.
Exactly,
Like, and
yeah.
you thought that you were done dealing with them.
Yeah.
And so it keeps like filtering you back through there, which I really like.
So yeah, like I mean, and that's clearly just a very intentional thing. This is a secret that is very easy to miss.
Yeah.
Just because you're kind of mentally on your way out of the level, but then, oh ho, this thing has risen up.
Yeah, I like that secret because if you're walking there and you're paying attention to the sound, you'll hear it. So.
Right. Okay, so that's the level exit. But what did we miss here? Actually, there's still 10 enemies still to kill. What did we?
Oh, wait, you didn't get that one secret on the
that's
side.
right, yeah.
I don't know how you unlock that, but
So we'll go back through the yellow door.
I never knew. It's always weird to go back through this level too because it feels like it's so linear and it feels like it's such a progression that even going back to the beginning of the level feels like
What? Why is that not open?
I don't know what you need to do. Maybe there was a switch or something you needed to hit.
That's so weird.
Yeah, or maybe you needed to walk in like a specific place or something.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if it had something to do with how I resolved this area. You know?
Yeah, I don't think so. When I was playing it on like when I did a video of it, it opened up pretty readily.
I mean, I've been everywhere else. Huh.
That area isn't particularly memorable.
No, it's not. Yeah, so I mean, I'm fine leaving it off. But yeah, like a big hatch opens up there, and then like it's kind of this dark ramped area with, I guess it's got a bunch of demons in it.
Yeah, there's
and a whole ton of health bonuses.
yeah,
just
you probably should
sprinkled
pick
around.
up some health here. But yeah, I'm not sure. That area actually kind of reminded me of a few rooms in Doom 2, I think. If I can remember. Oh, I like this at the end, like that it peeks down there. You
Yeah.
don't know that though. You have like no context for it.
Yeah,
It
you
just
look
looks
in,
like-
and I mean, I
looks
guess
like-
it's the first time that you're seeing this vine texture. So yeah.
But it's funny that it's the same place as where you're teleporting, but you don't really have any context for that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's another like window that isn't like serving a gameplay critical function, but it does like add some weird personality. And I think one thing that there's a cognitive benefit of having these kinds of windows in here is that it just gives you the sense like anytime there's a window into something, you're like, and the space isn't so crystal clear that you just immediately know where it is.
Yeah.
It ends up kind of increasing like the imagined complexity of the level.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that is at work just in general in episode 2.
Yeah,
like,
there is a lot of that. You're right. The fact that the textures change so much too.
Yeah, like the text, all these things play into it. The texture's changing, and then just the fact that there's like weird secrets that opened up and hallways that you're strongly disincentivized from going down all the way because they're like damaging or they have a powerful enemy in them. Because I think this level, like for years afterward, it would kind of like show up in my dreams or just when I would be remembering the game, and there would always be more to it, you know? Like I can look at this entire thing now. I can open it up in an editor and look at kind of a 3D view of it and be like, yep, that's all there is to it. I have explored every single nook and cranny of that. It has no mysteries.
It never
But in your
feels like
mind,
it, though.
But in your mind, it has a lot more to it. And I think episode 2 is probably better at evoking that consistently than any other episode in Doom, and that is actually why it is my favorite episode.
Yeah.
Because even though I think episode 1 is like a masterpiece in terms of craft and level design and game design, this just has enough weird stuff about it that the stuff that it does in the back of your mind where your game design sense doesn't usually intrude, I don't know. That's what I find really interesting about this.
It's funny, I tweeted like episode 2 is the best Doom episode. Enough said, or something like that, and like, you want to fight or something, and like this is a very episode 1 beginning, by the way.
Yeah, starting off in this little airlock type room.
And somebody, I think Christine Love, responded and was like, oh, I thought that's what. Is that a controversial opinion? And I was like, well, yeah, sort of. Like, a lot of people like episode 1 better. And she's like, well, it seemed obvious to me it has the most fucked up weird stuff in it.
Yeah. It sure does, yeah.
I'm gonna look at the chat now because this is not my favorite level. I like the beginning area and like the place where you go, like when you go up the stairs and the area with the vines, and like they usually have barons in them.
There's a few areas in this space that I like a lot. I think it also kind of has better. I think it has better lighting than most of the levels in episode 2.
Yeah, I just this map really rambles, and like it feels very like it doesn't have like the mood or weirdness of like other maps in episode 2.
Yeah, I think it rambles as much as some other ones, but it just doesn't ramble as interestingly.
Yeah, they're just big empty rooms.
One of my favorite features of it is, I mean, I like that the light gradation.
Oh yeah.
Like, this actually feels like lighting, you know, and you're like, oh, I'm coming up out of the darkness. What's going to be in here? And then you have this hallway that has a lot of tributaries.
Yeah, that's true.
Those demons that you saw earlier in the cage, I like that. But yeah, one of my favorite features is actually just this weird little route here. It's this. Just because like this thing is very rarely used as a skylight texture, but it is kind of being used here. So this actually feels very much like a sewer, and it's weird to be like celebrating something that feels like a sewer in a video game level, particularly one from this era. But I liked it because it just, I don't know, like, yeah, it sort of stuck as a visual moment. I mean, that may just mean that there isn't enough interesting about this level.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
although when it gets into here, this
level is not without its merits, and it feels very mysterious to me still because it's the biggest level in Doom as far as like I think as far as like architecture, you know, like how many rooms and stuff there are in it.
Oh, really?
Sure it's the biggest level in Doom.
Yeah, it's a big one.
You didn't go into the big part with all the barons and stuff. Yeah.
No, I have not.
Is this just the order that you usually?
I mean, I think it's the order that I did it back in the day.
It is funny that how everyone has their own like ways that they approach these maps. Well, I guess you could. Well, yeah, you'll go to map 6.
This will eventually take us to the secret level.
Yeah,
I believe, right.
We should,
which we don't want to go to yet. And there's this whole business which I don't want to go to.
That hurts you. That like always like.
Yep.
Oh my god.
I love this. Yeah.
And just like because the ceiling is.
Yeah, the ceiling is blood. You know, but it kind of also just reads as the sky if you're not looking very closely. Yeah, I always like that. Yeah,
it's so strange.
I think, you know, also
there are a bunch of these little side rooms in this map, like with the little doors.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think also just this was one of my back in the day. This was one of my preferred music tracks.
Oh yeah,
and the fact that it's using this, like, it's a good shot in the arm for the atmosphere of the level.
I do like this track.
Although honestly, like, so this is just in podcast territory, but my primary like musical reference point for this level specifically is, I think, the first few tracks off of the Crow soundtrack. I am dating myself with this, but I had the Crow soundtrack on CD because it was 1994, I guess. It was like early 1994, and I loved it. You know, like, I guess The Cure has that track, and then there's the 9 Inch Nails cover of Joy Division's Dead Souls. Anyway, that is totally like this particular part of this particular level is just like I must have just come home from school one day and been listening to that and just been exactly the person that I was in high school.
This is my favorite room. In this
Yeah,
map.
no, this level is very interesting. Sorry, this room is definitely very interesting. Partly because it breaks out of the orthogonal walls everywhere, and also
Yeah.
because it has an outdoor area that's kind of an unconventional feature. It's like, okay, there's nukage and vine stuff. Yeah, no, I think this is also where like my Doom screenshot taking Twitter and Tumblr bot, Wadbot, chose this perspective for its screenshot of this level. Stumbled across recently, I guess. Oh yeah, and then there's like a Kako down here.
Oh yeah, so there is Baron.
Yeah, so there's the Baron.
There's 2 Barons, I think, on.
Yeah, and Ultraviolence, there's 2 Barons.
I'm
which
gonna
is-
go look at the chat right now because I have less to say about it.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, I'll be back.
Oh yeah, actually, if you want to grab my laptop here, then you're welcome
Yeah,
to
I
just
might.
glance at that. Yeah. So yeah, this one also has a bunch of like weird secrets. Like you can drop down at the edge of this nukage pool, and then that takes you up into just this otherwise very nondescript little side space. Just got the big old Baron cube there. And I think this takes you up to... Yeah, that just takes you up back to that hallway there. So it's weird to kind of guess at what the critical path for this level is, intended to be. Like,
There's a lot of.
this feels very central
There's a
here,
lot of different paths
but then it
through
ends
this
up
level.
just being a dead end.
Yeah, there are a lot of like weird random dead ends.
I'm looking at the chat right now.
Sure, yeah.
Someone was saying how they. Episode 2 has great single rooms and areas, but less great cohesive levels.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I mean, it kind of depends on what kind of experience you want from.
Yeah. Well, it's I think I think a sort of weird patchy eclecticism can be an overriding theme in itself. I mean, it's
Yeah.
what I associate with this episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if your mark for greatness is like a super cohesive episode 1 type thing, then I think that's fair, and just kind of one of those aesthetic points of difference.
And also, someone was talking about how Doom 2, they felt like the Earth levels just didn't make much sense because they just didn't feel like being on Earth. And they ran up against technological limitations.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
I never remembered parts of this map. I always confused them with parts of like episode 3.
There's this chainsaw hiding in the thing by the birthday cake here. Like, it's just a bunch of like weirdly telegraphed secret stuff.
J. Mickle says this level is boring.
Yeah, like, this is kind of like this particular area where it's wood. Always felt like, I don't know, just maybe I'm just ambivalent in general about this wood set in Doom. Period.
It's okay. There are some
Like, it's
levels
not
that
bad.
use it.
I think there's levels in Doom 2 that use it better.
Yeah. There's a wood area in the industrial zone that
Yep.
I really like.
Yeah, that one.
Also,
that one's definitely good.
map 3 of episode 4 I kind of like because it's wood themed.
Yeah, this space particularly like feels like there's some spaces, and this is definitely one of them, where I look at them and I'm like, this is like all kind of single floor height, sort of like uniform floor and ceiling height, relatively simple texturing, practically no lighting.
You know,
I mean,
this
this is just
honor-
one area, but it makes me wonder if this area was built like very early in development,
Yeah.
like when they were still thinking in Wolfenstein land.
I don't know, but this is all Sandy Peterson though.
No, and the fact that it adjoins this other stuff, like I think it's more just, I think all these choices are intentional. It's just that whenever something hews too close to Wolfenstein, I always just find myself wondering, like, if they kind of felt, you know, if that dogma was still kind of looming large. Not dogma, but just that design sense.
Well, yeah, if you design 60 levels like that.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? That makes me think of like the what you were saying, like the D&D style, just like individual rooms to individual rooms, like, you know, that kind of stuff going on.
Right, because when you're designing a level in Graph Paper World, you know, you're really like you have to really make an effort to be thinking about the third dimension at all. You know.
It seems like, I don't know, this level feels very separate from, aside from maybe some texture theming choices, just in terms of design, very separate from the rest of episode 2 to me also. Maybe similar to the next map in some ways, but even...
The secret one, or...?
Map 6. But even map 6 has more, like, distinctiveness to it. I don't know. Yeah, this is just one that, like... You know, I feel like... Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, there's a rad suit here,
and says, episode 2, map 5, and map 6 are my favorites in episode 2. Well, I will say that I do like map 6. And there's some cool secrets and stuff, like, oh yeah, I like this area also.
Yeah, this is where they just went full bore with the weirdo skin hell stuff. Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah, and this is the way to the rest of the level. I think I took a wrong turn at Albuquerque here.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Essel did mention that there's no keys in this map, which is pretty cool. The fact that there's no keys.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So yeah, and I like the secret too.
Yeah. This whole secret run here, where
it's so long, like it's
super long.
Yeah.
And then you're like, yeah. I mean, that's a pretty difficult to find secret right there. I love the fact that it's okay, yeah, there's another Baron. But the fact that
Essel says episode 2, map 5 is just a big sprawling go anywhere and explore and find weird stuff with no keys, just do stuff and find the exit. I like that. One thing I like about Doom is how different people's like impressions of what like they really think was good or memorable is. Like, there's some. Like, everyone has their own kind of favorite maps. There are definitely some that like stick out to a lot of people, but I like how some people are like, well, that map is terrible, and some people are like, well, no, that's one of my favorite maps. Like, a lot of people really hate the chasm in Doom 2, and I love that map personally.
I mean, I can understand why they hate it.
Yeah.
Though I love it myself. It's just because, you know, staying on skinny ledges. Yeah, it's true, and I don't know. I do feel like. I mean, BioShock is the game that I have the most experience with people kind of weighing in on different parts of it, just because I watch people focus test it and all that. But it seems like there is a pretty strong consensus on what the best level and best sections of BioShock are. You know, everybody always. Oh, that's right. This teleporter just warps you back
right to the beginning. It's so dickish. Like,
yeah, the dungeon master has smitten us. But yeah, in BioShock, people. I'm sorry, I keep derailing, but this is actually one of the more effective uses of windows and look-throughs. I feel like here, because the windows are low to the ground, so you can actually look out even if you don't have mouse look.
I mean,
you can look out and be like, okay, cool, I can see this. It doesn't serve that much of a purpose in the grand scheme of things, but I think it's still more effective. I mean, some of the level geo stuff in here, I think, is just the product of like further into development, maybe. Like they were just more practiced at making spaces. I don't know for sure.
By the way, hi Essel. He's one of the people who makes maps for like Doom and Doom the way it did.
Yes.
And back to Saturn X, which he did a. I remember really liking. I only played Doom 2 the way it did all the way through, but Essel, yeah, you did a map. It was like map 12 of Doom 2 the way it did, which is one of my favorites. But anyway,
so there's I think I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go to the exit here, just because there's a little more worth talking about. But then, oh right, it's a complete dead end.
on this map.
Yeah.
I like this area where you can go both ways, and like you just have to decide to walk down a really long hallway of nukage in order to get that secret that you got earlier.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's I mean that particular juncture is symmetrical, which makes it very tricky. I think that this was probably a pretty common getting lost point in the level
Yeah.
for a lot of people.
This ending of the map I always thought was in episode 3 because it seemed completely
Yeah, it feels very
different to me.
episode 3-ish. You know, it's got like this red brick texture is like an episode 3 workhorse, and you know, and there's cacos and large amounts of demons, and so it's got a lot of the earmarks.
I like any place where they spawn in a large amount of monsters at the end and you can just decide to exit or fight them. Like, I don't know, I really like that decision, like where they give you a path to the end, but like you can also decide to fight things if you want.
I'm just trying to get some infighting happening. Yeah, so I am actually going to take the route out of here, the secret exit.
Yeah, the maps that I remember liking from Doom 2 the way it did, I remember liking map 6 and map 12 in particular. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I guess I don't have much else to say about this map. This is where I was doing a video series, and I got to this map, and I think I played the secret map. Oh, there's 2 little rooms. There's just like monster teleporting rooms.
No, they are not. That's actually part of the secret.
Oh, okay,
the
that's the
secret level
secret, yeah.
entrance. So I'm gonna go
Right.
back and do that now. And I think the remaining enemies in the level are just the lost souls that are just punking around in that secret thing.
But yeah, this
am
is
I going the right way?
where
Yes.
I yes, I think you're going the right way. This is where I stopped, so I didn't get to Halls of the Damned or Spawning Bats. Halls of the Damned was like the scariest map to me. Oh yes.
Did I miss someone? There you are. Okay.
This room reminds me of the room in in level one, map 1, where the walls go
Oh
down.
yeah.
There's a lot of like rooms that
Yeah, just
make
these
me think of
gargoyles.
each other.
I just love them.
Yeah.
All right.
Command center.
Fortress of Mystery,
Which
which
is-
appears out of nowhere on this map image.
Yeah,
Actually.
and one of the least, and it appears to be just a mirrored version of the Tower of Babel, like that.
Oh yeah, right.
Also, this is one of the least mysterious maps I've ever played.
It is just not that mysterious. Yeah, like it's got just the Chaos Star thing. I was reading about this level actually because I always remembered it just being such a weird little, you know, knock it out in an hour kind of thing. But apparently it is one of Sandy Peterson's favorites, just because he really likes the way that you can use infighting here.
Oh, I guess.
Like,
Where,
yeah.
where did you read? Oh, right. He had the little like. I remember he had a written book about game design. There was a
Yeah.
chapter on game design where he was talking about his like design.
Jeez.
Oh yeah, I love this packaging.
All right, guys.
That room is a lot better than the beginning room.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's fun. It's also, like, a pretty awkward setup. Like, you kind of have to, like, go pass through that bottleneck and, like, I don't know. It's a relatively, I don't know, like, nowadays you could do something, like, in this kind of space, that with this kind of conceit and...
Oh, you have the weird. There's the weird barons behind the thing that you see at the end of map, or at the Tower of Babel. Tower of Babel.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's like a-
the tortured barons,
Yeah,
basically,
that's
yeah.
like a texture and not like an actual sprite.
Correct,
Which
yeah.
is really weird.
Yeah.
Jay Mickle says, well, hey, we found the worst map in Doom. I appreciate how dumb it is. Essel says, the most mysterious thing about Fortress of Mystery is that the SP rock textures in the start room are all perfectly meticulously aligned, despite the map otherwise looking like it was made in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Jay Mickle says, JP, you were trying super hard to praise this map, but you so don't have to. I don't know. I don't actually mind this map. It's just like, I guess like this kind of like battles were really much more novel at the time too. Like having like a big confrontation like this was like.
Yeah, I remember back in the day playing it and thinking like, this is just ridiculous. Like I just cannot do this. You know.
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays it's like, this is only a moderate challenge really. But
a lot of things.
No, I
things
don't really
with like that rely on like lots of difficulty or big battles, like anything